Welcome to the French Newfie. I'm Erin MacDonald. Today I'm going to be making steak tartare, and that is using raw meat. And a lot of people are scared to make the steak tartare, and so what they do is leave it in the hands of a stranger in a restaurant. So I'm actually going to show you if you just do it the proper way, then you can make it in your own home. And so one important thing is to have good quality meat. So make sure that you're getting your meat from a trusted source, and you want to use the proper kind of meat, like a sirloin or tenderloin, which is what I have today. And you don't want to keep it at room temperature for very long. So this has come straight out of the fridge, and what I've done is just chopped it and cubed it. And I'm going to show you how I did that. So with the remaining tenderloin, I'm just going to take it and chop it, slice it just like this, a couple of pieces. And then what you want to do is cut it the other way to make cubes, and small cubes. Some chefs actually like to use a grinder for this, but I like to not use my grinder for this. I like to actually chop it. That way I know the texture and the shape and size. But if you want to use a grinder, go ahead. Just make sure that your grinder is very clean and sterilized before you run it, because again, you're going to be eating this raw. So if you find that the chunks or your cubes are a little bit too big, just go back through it again, which is what I've done. Perfect. And this is a very lean tenderloin. Again, it's going to be, you're not going to have any of that grizzle or connective tissue, which you don't want when you're biting into it, especially because it's going to be raw. So there you go. This is all done. And as I said, I have chopped some up earlier. So now we're going to get it into our bowl, just like that. And move this out of the way until clean up later. And just wash my hands, wipe my hands off. Perfect. And now we're going to bring it back over, and I have all the ingredients that are going to make it into the delicious steak tartare. So let me just get a spoon. First thing we're going to go down with is some Dijon mustard. And this is classic. It's a French dish. I remember watching, one of the first episodes I watched was Mr. Bean eating steak tartare at a fancy French restaurant, and I laughed my my arse off because he didn't know what it was. He'd never seen raw beef before. The episode is priceless. So I'm going to put down some Dijon mustard into, it's the French Dijon mustard. You want to use Dijon, not the regular mustard type, just the Dijon is what you want to use. And we're going to go in with some Worcester sauce. This is a classic ingredient as well. There's so many different spices in it. I don't know how much are in Worcester, but there's maybe 20 or 30 different things that go into this. So a couple of good dashes of the Worcester sauce. And some Frank's Red Hot. It's one of my favorite. It's a nice vinegar base. We're going to get that down just a little bit, not too much. You want to taste the beef, but you really do want it to be seasoned as well. So there's a fine balance between spices and the flavor of the raw beef. So just like that. Now we're going to go for some lemon juice, and you want to do this early on in the process because the lemon juice is actually going to start to cook the meat, and that's also helps with any case or chance that there might be any bacteria. You are slowly starting to cook it with this lemon juice. So get that lemon juice in there right off the bat. I'm using a half a lemon for this. Perfect. Now we're going to mix that all up so that the lemon juice is coating all of the beef. And I can smell the Worcester and the Frank's Red Hot and the Dijon, and even I can smell the beef. So now we're going to go in with the rest of it. This is classic as well, which is capers. Very salty and briny and classic again. So these, I just gave them a rough chop. Now we're going to add that to the mixture. Cornichons, which are little pickled cucumbers. So baby cucumbers, we're gonna get them in as well. And they're classic, nice pickly flavor you get. It goes against the richness of that beef. And parsley, I'm gonna also garnish with the parsley at the end, but I'm gonna put some in right now. So get that in. And next we're gonna go in with some red onion. And I've chopped the red onion really well. And that's what you wanna do with all of these ingredients. Because we're going to be putting it into a mold, you want everything to stay together. So you need to make sure that everything is chopped the same. So get all of that red onion down inside, just like that. And some nice fresh cracked black pepper. You want that taste of the pepper to be going through your beautiful beef steak tartare. And a good amount of pepper down in there. Perfect. And make sure that everything is mixed in really, really well here. You want, with every bite of that steak tartare, you want to taste the cornichons, you want to taste a little bit of that salty caper, you want to taste a little bit of the parsley, the lemon juice. You want all the flavors to be coming together and burst into your mouth. And you can see that the raw color of the beef is not that bright red color anymore, which is very important as well. You want your meat to have that nice bright red color. That's another sign of freshness. So as you can see now, it's gone a little bit dull, and that's because the lemon juice is breaking down the steak. And give it one more final twirl. And now we're gonna bring it over our plate for plating. And a nice white plate. You always want to have a nice white plate for this. So this is going to be the star, it's going to be right in the middle. And I have one of these little molds, and they're great for the steak tartare. I hope that you have one if you're going to make it at home. If not, they're so dirt cheap. So just go out and buy one if you plan on making the steak tartare at home. Now we're going to take our beautiful steak tartare and get that into the mold. Just try not to get it off into the plate. And if you do, you can always recover after and just clean up after. So get that down. Once you get some of it down, what you want to do then is just lightly push down on the mold and push down on the meat so that it's compacting in. And then go in with some more. And keep going. There you go. Wow, I'm so surprised that I'm not making a mess here. I'm doing really good today. So get that down. Pushing and pushing down on that meat. And I'm just gonna try for a little bit more. Just a little bit more of all that goodness. It is the tenderloin, and they are quite pricey, so try and use all of it. Okay, that looks just about ready to go. And now, you can tell it's compact, it's not gonna fall apart. Everything is sticking together nicely. Then just take your hand and haul up on the mold. Voila, that's what you're left with. Beautiful steak tartare. We're not done yet. I'm gonna finish it off with some of the remaining chopped flat leaf Italian parsley, just to garnish it. You can sprinkle some around the ends, which is fine as well, around the edges. Just a little drizzle of olive oil, just a little bit. There you go, lovely, lovely. And another classic accompaniment for this steak tartare would be a rye bread, and rye bread really holds up to the steak tartare and all those spices. But you can use any type of bread. And what I've chose today, and I've toasted, lightly toasted, was a really nice protein bread. There's so many flavors going on, and it's really hearty, and it's gonna go really well with the steak tartare. So I've just chopped it up, and I've toasted it in the oven. So just get a couple of these down around there, like that. And there you have my steak tartare tartare. I hope that you give it a try. It wasn't that intimidating, and it's not just for the experts in the restaurants. You can do it yourself. Enjoy.